Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Marty.
Donovan, Marty Keller, and we welcome back our dear colleague and friend, Dan Gutierrez.
Good
And
afternoon, everyone.
Dan was starting to share something with us, and we said, hey, let's press the record button first. So Dan was saying it all starts with me.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been working at this a while here, and so I made a statement, an actual true statement, and then I reflected on how I came about the statement. So the statement was, what led up to that is that my current partner, and I was just watching her and noticing how she's been treating me, and how I feel about how she's treating me. And I made the statement to myself. I'm go, God, this is the most love I've ever, I believe that I've ever felt. I think that's what I said. And then as soon as I said that, I go, well, that's a true statement. You haven't loved, this is the most you've ever loved yourself, so the two correlate. And it's like, I'm responsible for what I'm feeling. If I don't give myself permission, or I don't allow myself to love myself, I will not be able to let and feel other people's love for me. And it's like, okay, not to diminish or take away from her. It's like I have to have those two things together for that awareness to happen. And then I started thinking, and I'm going, wow, I probably had other people in my life that have really loved me, and I just wasn't able to let it in. And man, I've been missing out. And I just felt sad, and then I went to the accountability tree, and my intent is to build the capacity, or is to fall in love with myself at a deeper level. And so that just started me going down the road of looking at myself. And yeah, I've never felt safer in my life. And that's due to I'm not threatening myself. I'm not abusing myself. I'm not doing violence to myself. I have a safe relationship with myself. I give myself permission to make mistakes. And I give myself just permission to be me. And each time I do that, I think, this is just my interpretation of what I know, is that I was born with peace and safety in my life, and that each day I went through my life, a little bit was a blanket, or somehow was covered over and over and over, until I'm not in a state of safety anymore. So the awareness is I give myself what I'm looking for. I give myself the love and compassion that I want, my contentment, my self-worth, and my value. And it's like, wow. So what do I want? I want to live a life of safety and peace. And I can have that because I create it. So I don't know how. Oh, okay. So that was one thing. And I've been struggling with trying to understand why what my behavior, trying to understand my behavior. And so I was just noticing that I couldn't understand, I couldn't feel certain things until they've reached a high level threshold. Everything was okay until the threshold got really high, and then I started having these behaviors. I start eating. I start getting really busy. I drink a lot of coffee, and so I just like, there we are. We've reached that threshold. Now I can't avoid these feelings have exceeded the level, and now they're present in my life, and I'm very uncomfortable with them. So I'm trying to get rid of them. I'm trying to do something to lower that threshold again. And what the analogy I have is like a motion sensor light. If you turn the sensitivity way up, you know, it lights up when somebody across the street walks by, the light comes on in your driveway. That's been me. So I get a lot of false signals all the time. There's actually nobody threatening me, but the dog is walking across the street and then the light comes on. And so I'm trying to figure out what that level is, the intensity level. And I've come to discover that that threshold is really high. For most people, it's like a 4, 5 maybe. I'm guessing, I don't know. But for me, that threshold is at 8 or 9. So things really get chaotic for me to notice. Then I started noticing that I'm uncomfortable. But in reality, I've been uncomfortable for a long time, and I just haven't noticed it. My sensitivity or my awareness of that disturbance or that feeling has been tuned way, way up. So I don't even notice that it's happening until it's really high. And then I try to figure out how to bring it down. So I call it background radiation. High levels of background radiation, because I call it radiation because what I'm feeling is energy. The normal background radiation is fairly low, but for me, I operate in a high level of that background radiation. And I'm going, that's dangerous. That affects my health. I mean, it's just like walking into a radioactive zone with high levels of radiation. You're not going to survive there long. So I've decided that I'm going to focus on paying attention to how I feel with a greater sensitivity. Start to notice things. I intend to be more sensitive to my emotional state. Build the capacity to notice when it starts rather than when it's reached that threshold. So I can employ the tools earlier, and if I can employ them earlier, I have a greater shot at succeeding, because I'm not in a state of defense. I'm not in a state of fear or anxiety. I'm not in fight or flight.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awareness that's new to me, but everybody, keeps saying that. We're not designed to live in this high tension, high stress state. And what is it? When I'm not in that state, my body has the ability to restore itself, rejuvenate, and rest. And if I can't do those things, 3 things, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to have all kinds of problems, health issues. And so, yeah, that's what I'm working on. And I don't know, what's your take on that?
You asking me?
Anybody?
That's the goal, is to understand where I'm at through my feeling body. And I relate to, I didn't know that I was stressed out, but what's been happening with me is I'll wake up in the morning with a low grade dread, like a heavy, and I'll notice it. Well, I'm also understanding that I felt that almost my entire life and didn't even notice it. I thought it was something else. I'd
Exactly.
get up and go, oh, that guy at work did this, and this guy over here did that, and I'm not getting along with my wife, and the bills are coming in, and I go into all the things that are happening outside of me instead of just feeling the feeling tone. And your definition of I'm at an 8 is like, and don't know it. I've normalized stress, um, covering, stuffing trauma. I've normalized the trauma is expressing through a feeling of dread. I've normalized that feeling and thought, I gotta do something to fix myself. I'm gonna drink today, or I'm gonna, and find myself isolated, alone. And I like what you said about loving yourself and feeling love. It's incredible to notice when somebody, I want to say, throws love towards me, and I can actually sense it and feel warm, um, wanting to reciprocate. Oh my God. And this is what I know about you and what I know of myself and Marty is hard fought for, a realization of where I'm at. And then, wow, oh my God. And this is a result of intentional living, accountability tree, being accountable for my behaviors, looking at my character defects, owning my projections, um, owning my judgments, and then just saying them out loud. I'm mean, I'm judgmental, I'm critical, I'm self-critical, I'm other critical, I'm self-deprecating, I'm other deprecating, and then feeling that truth, feeling the emotion that comes from that truth, and saying, I intend to be kind. Well, the first time I said I intend to be kind, I had no idea. No, I was so, in my mind, so far away from what kindness was that it's impossible. And yet, through this process of accountability, owning my behaviors, no blame, no judgment, in the group with people, I did it when I first started with people. I'm doing it now as a facilitator with people, and the healing is remarkable. I feel loved when my daughters look at me. I feel love from my grandson. I feel the connection. And yeah, that is sad. 73, most of my life, I was wondering what everybody was doing. How do I act? I was self-conscious. I was anxiety ridden and trying to act normal, trying to just like have a conversation or not have a conversation, isolate and be alone. Wow. Yeah. I'm excited for you, Daniel. I'm expectant that we as a group are going to, for lack of a better term, carry this message or exemplify this so a greater number of people can experience love, what it feels like to be warm, to hear somebody say, I love you without a gut reaction going like, well, what do you want from me? And just feel, just, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, and not hide from it, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah, yeah. What I'd like to comment about what you said about how the body responds to stating the truth. Um, it, it it's how human beings self-regulate each other.
yes.
They talk to each other. We have the capacity to talk and feel safe based on systems, social engagement systems, our face, our tone of voice.
Yep.
And what we want from others, or when we feel safe with others, is when we have that connection, when we're in their presence and we feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowed to be who we are. And that's what I think. Well, that's what I'm terming it for myself. I'm self-witnessing. I allow myself to be myself, and that's what I want from others. So I'm going to give that to myself. Is to know that, you know, whatever I do, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not to judge it, not to demean it, not to say it's wrong, but just to self-witness.
Mm-hmm.
Give myself that loving, securing attachment that's not going to go away. I'm not gonna abandon myself. I'm going to stay with me despite my fears, despite my past, and witness it and not judge it, and basically do the accountability tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then ask myself, what is it that I want? Yeah, I want to feel safe, peaceful, and loving, unconditional loving for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as I say that, I feel the response to it in my body, and it's like, you know, it's had that experience recently, and it's asking for more.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that for myself, I'm kinder and gentler to the world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, my life changes, or my perception changes, and my life changes. And I give myself what I've been looking for.
Yes.
And
And then my experience with that is then people shower me with that.
right, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they've already been doing it. I just haven't recognized it.
It's like I've been holding an umbrella up to this waterfall of love and complaining, how come I'm not getting wet? You know, to move the umbrella. But yeah, and that's yeah. So here I'm going, well, God, you know, you've been told this for I don't know how long, you know, you've watched all these people tell you this, you've read it in books, and it's like, you know, what's going on? And it's just like, well, I've had this level of conditioning that I've had to overcome.
Yeah.
And that level is different for everyone.
Yep.
And it's not a judgment, it's not a race. I'm not better, I'm not worse. There is no competition, there is no finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just amazing how that tension goes away.
Mhm.
I'm not playing catch up. The urgency drops off.
Yeah.
And when the urgency drops off, the level of tension and stress, the further I move away um, from being, when I'm in fight or flight, everything is cut off and I go back to the old. I go back to the old conditioning. I
Yeah.
go into survival mode and everything, or I can't say everything, but what I've cognitively learned goes out the window because my body believes that it's survival's on the line, and what do we know best to do? And we go straight to that, and damn the consequences, we'll clean the mess up afterward.
Right. Turn, walk away, slam the door, go isolate, eat.
Eat, smoke methamphetamine, drink alcohol, go do violence, go do high risk behavior.
Yep.
And and when I can look at those behaviors as an attempt to self-regulate and not know how, I just have a huge amount of compassion for myself and other people.
Yeah.
How can you make a choice, a healthy choice, if one hasn't been presented to you?
Right.
How can you can't. If you don't know you have choice or there is an option, you're bound to you have no choice. You just continue to use the old, and then if it doesn't work, you blame yourself.
Right.
And it's a vicious cycle that something has to happen that's life altering. Somehow you have to get sat down, and by the grace of God, some kind of other outside influence comes in and says, hey, you have a choice here. There's another way to do this. Instead of beating yourself up, why not start accepting yourself slowly and surely? And whew.
Yeah.
So I'd like to share something that's right in alignment with what you have been discussing, and it came to my attention in a way that I love that thing you said about the higher threshold. That the way I interpret that, Dan, is that I have to have X intensity of feeling before I feel it, because I've set that threshold. I can ignore anything below that threshold. So at the gut check meeting the other day on Wednesday, this is Friday, someone brought up a question about overeating. And we ended up having this incredibly rich conversation about the relationship of food to this process, John, that you were talking about as a way of avoidance. But we didn't talk about it so much as there's something wrong here. We were really committed to sticking to our principles. And so the question became, as we talked about it, is like, what is the reward I get for overeating?
Mm-hmm.
And as we discussed that, and this is something I've been struggling with for the past month or so, as I find myself drawn to sweets in a way that I hadn't been drawn to before. And so maybe that's that high threshold, Dan, starting to notice that. But what I got in the meeting, and I set my intention, was I don't pay any attention to what happens when I eat this stuff. It's like I don't notice the reward. It's still below that radar screen or below that threshold.
Wow.
So I set the intention. I intend to experience what my body experiences. I intend to pay attention to what my body experiences when I eat, because I'm just disconnected from the experience. And so I don't know what's going on. I'm not aware of it. I just have compulsion. And so and I noticed that I avoided raising this issue in the group and raising it even here because I feel ashamed and I feel there's something wrong. And so now, so I get to fly, I get to pretend it's not happening until it gets to be too much. And that now I have to take action. Dan, you said I now have to do something to reduce the discomfort. And so another thing that I've been working on is noticing myself shoulding and noticing that, so this fits right into this. I shouldn't do this, or I should do that, and not paying attention to what's the feeling I get when I make those statements to myself.
Right.
And again, I'm just in the process now of committing myself to noticing, because I don't have any answers to any of these questions that I've raised. It's fairly new for me. But I intend to notice and see what I can learn, because I intend to feel good in my body. And right now I don't. And so this is the power of the process. Is I give myself permission to be the way I am. This is what I've been doing. No blame or judgment. And I'm willing to live with the results of what I've done. So the result is I'm feeling uncomfortable. My belt loop has to be let out. And again, nothing wrong with that. I can always get a bigger belt. And I choose to feel comfortable in my body, and I'm not. So this is, to circle back around, Dan, to what you said earlier. I believe this is a way that I can love myself. Pay attention to what's going on. Set the intention to notice that which I haven't been noticing, because I'm getting results that are coming as a result of behaviors I'm not noticing. And then do the accountability tree, do the practice. Okay, what do I want? What's going on here? Well, I'm feeling unloved. Is that what's going on? Is that why I'm eating that dessert I don't physically need, I'm not hungry for? And then whatever it is, do the tree. Okay, I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling disconnected from my body. And just feel it. Say, okay, what do I want? And as I sit here processing it in this moment, I want to feel safe, and I want to feel at ease. So I intend to feel safe and at ease in my body.
Cool. So it's funny that we talk about this. Well, it's not funny. It's
Or lawful.
No, it's synchronicity. So I'm watching the Stephen Porges video this morning, and he's the originator of the polyvagal theory, and his explanation of why we eat is it's a substitute for the social. It's a substitute, poor substitute for our ability to use our facial expression, our intonation, our voice, our eyes. And what happens is when you speak and you talk and you use your facial muscles, there's a suck response, there's a chew response, and then there's a swallow response when you eat. And you have to breathe as well. So when you eat food, that is a poor stuff. You're engaging all of that, except it's not as effective as the social engagement system where you sit with another. And it's also pretty cool that when you go out to dinner, you're activating all of those, and you talk at dinner. You're engaged with somebody, they're looking at their face, and you're eating. Isn't it? I don't know. Could ask the question. Isn't it kind of? Do we have a good time when we sit down and eat and we have a conversation about things? Isn't that soothing? Pay attention. Does my stress level go down when I talk about my issues and I have another person witness it?
Mhm.
He's done research on infants. So when the infant comes out, it needs an external world to self-regulate. So what does it do when it feeds on the mother's breasts? What system does it engage? The suck, the swallow, and the breath. All of that. 6 months later, with a nurturing, mirroring mother, the child gravitates to the interaction of the mother mirroring the child's state and moves away from the sucking response. So fast forward, people who use eating as a coping mechanism never got that mirroring in their childhood development. So their response is, if you're obese, is because you're trying to self-regulate through food and it's not very effective, so you have to eat a lot of it.
Mhm.
High threshold.
So, and then it's just like, I too have done that. I used to blame, the food. Why am I eating? What? I mean, now I can listen to myself when I say that and I go, who does that sound like? Oh, hi, Margaret. Thanks for coming back from the dead and reminding me that, my issue is that, I can't self-regulate. And, thanks, Mom. I didn't get that from you, so it's okay. It's not the food issue. It's the ability to self-regulate my emotional state.
Mhm.
And how do I do that? How I was brought up, I was told to go isolate and figure the shit out and then come back when I understand what's going on. Good luck.
Mhm.
Is it any wonder that I have anxiety? I have ADHD? No, it's not a wonder. That's what that process creates in a human being. And then until I understand that is not a character defect, that is a child developmental phase that I didn't get.
Right.
That's the best news I could ever have, because now as an adult, I can give myself that.
Yes. Wow.
And fuck, let's get busy doing that. I need to empower myself and give myself what I didn't get. And it's like, well, how do you know what you didn't get? Ta-da. Look at your life. Do you have the ability to communicate with others? Can you have a relationship? Do
Right.
you work well with coworkers? Are you always defensive?
Do you like yourself?
Do you
Can
like
you
yourself?
can you be in the
Do you
same room with yourself more than 5 minutes?
So I heard one guy's talking about loneliness. Somebody was experiencing loneliness, and he goes, "You know what loneliness is, Dan?" And I go, "No." He goes, "It's the inability to be with yourself."
Yeah.
So leave all these other people alone. What you're looking for is not outside of you. And we live in a culture that supports that everything you need is outside of you. And by the way, it's 1995. Buy it online and you'll be happy. And I'm just so thrilled to death with this news. Everything I thought that was an issue is not.
It's not. Never
It's
was.
it's the opportunity of a lifetime for me to give myself what I've been looking for, which is love, acceptance, and compassion. And I can do that. I'm highly motivated to do that. Yeah. Why would I be afraid of people that love me? Why would I be afraid of what I desire most in the world? childhood experience.
Yep.
The people I love either leave on purpose or abandon me on purpose, or are not there when they needed me, or I move away from people I've loved and nobody has the capacity to tell me what I'm experiencing and guide me through it. And then my life is affected, and it's yeah. There's That's why I do this work.
Yep.
Authentic people who are themselves and feel safe, have the capacity to change the world, because they come from their body, they come from the feeling state, they can empathize with others, they understand other people, they can make decisions in a calm state rather than a fearful, adrenalized state where everybody else is the enemy. Somebody asked me, "Why are you doing this?" I'm here to change the world. I'm here to create people who are authentic and love themselves. And if you love yourselves, you can love somebody else.
Yep. I have in my statement of intent to heal, unify, serve, teach, heal, unify, serve by being who I am, which is a human being who loves himself so people can see what it looks like. And then ask me, how do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's have a talk.
Absolutely. And people see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many people, it's like, even Zorro, Terry's dog.
Yes.
Especially
Especially
he's hyperactive and he's all over the place. And like this morning, he just came up and put his head in my lap and just sat down calm.
Yep.
Because I'm calm.
Yes.
That is the self-regulating concept that Stephen Porges talks about.
Yep.
Mammals have this capacity to self-regulate each other. This is why humans have pets.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can talk to the pet and the pet doesn't judge them. It stares there and looks at them in the face. And we have this capacity to give that feeling or that experience to ourselves. And then that just radiates from me. And people know what that is instinctively.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is. It's amazing thing to watch, sit there and I'm watching Terry and I'm going, she really loves me.
Mm.
And I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, this is crazy. No, it's not crazy. And it's just like, wow, you can see it. It's in you. You must know what it is. Oh, great. Back to me again.
Never about the other person.
No, it's back to me again. It's like, oh, all right, well, okay, let's go do this.
Yep, let's go do this.
And for me, I'm also the secure. I am becoming the secure attachment that I didn't get. And for me, that's what my whole life has been trying to find. I found little bits and pieces of it in other people where they didn't judge me. And, you know, and it's kind of like, that's what I've been looking for. That's what I found with our relationship, John.
Yeah.
That's what you've modeled with me the whole time I've known you.
Yes.
And it's just like, that's what I want. I want to be able to do that for myself. Nobody abandons me. I abandon myself.
Correct.
And okay, well, how do I do that? I intend to love and approve of myself no matter what. I intend to view myself with compassion, acceptance. I intend to value myself. I intend to fall in love with myself. And the consequences is you let other people love you. And it's like, wow, why not? I don't know if this happens for other people. It's just so striking, you know. It's just like it's not that difficult. That's a statement of now. And I don't know. I'm just really excited about my life and what's going on, and there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with anyone else.
No. No. Hey, Dan.
And it can't, and it is challenging, but it's rewarding beyond measure.
Hey, Daniel. Oh, you're frozen.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know that I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you too.
Yeah, I know.
And I love Marty over there too.
Yes.
I always have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is really good stuff, and it's not as complicated as I've made it out to be. Well, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's like there's a judgment there, and it's just like, I mean, I had the awareness the other day. I've been hyperactive my entire life, always wanting to go 4 or 5 directions all at the same time. And then I think, what did my mother have to do to get me to sit still? Ooh. I don't have the results speak for themselves as an adult.
Yep.
But I don't have a memory of it. It was consistent, persistent, and painful.
Yes.
To not be me. And me was not valued. And then I got the message, to be loved, I had to be what you wanted me to be.
Right.
A good student, an athlete, make you proud of me.
Yep.
Achieve.
Only to find out no matter how hard you tried, you didn't get what you wanted.
No. And having that awareness is a gift of a lifetime. Is to be able to see my behavior not as negative, my addiction. Why wouldn't I be an addict? Why wouldn't I want to seek relief from this torment that I've lived with?
And a torment that we don't feel. We just have this response. At least I did. It's like the eating thing. It's like I'm not even aware that I have this internal sense of something's wrong. Something's got to be better. That sense of that invisible drive toward the unattainable.
Well, I can tell you one thing. When you find your drug of choice, you know that pain stops.
Yep.
Yep. It's like,
And for the first time in my life, it was like, holy cow.
speaking about that, I remember the first beer I had. I remember it was sitting on the countertop in the kitchen at my friend's house. It was a quart of lager something. I could count the drops of condensation on it. I could tell you what it felt like when I held it. I could tell you what it felt like when that hit my throat. And I thought, holy shit, this is it. This is like, wow. And I was gone. It was, man. Yeah, you can tell. Well, you find that thing that works.
Yeah. And there's other workaholism. There's anything that a myriad, a ton of
Yeah.
human beings can that will do that for them.
Yep.
And I mean, it's like, I started my addict. I was an addict way before I picked up methamphetamine.
Yeah.
I was addicted to achievement, constantly, persistently, always going from one thing to the next, and trying to get that trophy that was gonna, that had love. You're worthy of love. Finally, here, look at it. You can't deny me. I've earned it. Only to have it, dissipate by the time that I pick it up and I go to show to my mom or something. See, it says right here, you have to love me now.
Yep.
Oh no, it doesn't. It says, keep trying and work a
Try
little bit
again.
harder.
Yep. Next time it'll happen.
Yep. The trophies keep getting bigger, so eventually I'm gonna have the biggest one. And yeah. But for me is I can't I the compassionate part is it was that inner child, that little boy looking for relief.
Mhm.
Why is he looking for relief? Because he doesn't have the information about how to self-regulate his emotion.
Right.
He's not comfortable in his own skin. And it's not his fault because he doesn't know.
Right.
Not blaming mom and dad.
Mhm.
They didn't get it either. And here we sit as children in a adult body,
Yep.
having for me having expectations of I should, and if I don't meet that expectation, there's something wrong with me.
Mhm.
And I was talking about this with somebody else. If you do not know that you have a choice, then it's always your fault. But when you have the ability to go, I'm whole, perfect, and complete. There's nothing wrong with me. My life is not the way I want it to be. Well, maybe the information I'm using to process and act on and behave in my life might be the issue. And if I'm not my behaviors, if I'm not my thoughts, and I'm not my beliefs, I'm still whole, perfect, and complete, and I'm not the problem. So let's examine how we're doing things and why we judge people. And oh, we judge people? Well, would you be willing to consider that's how you judge yourself?
This would be a good time to invite anybody that might be listening that's new to one of our groups so they could see the practice for themselves. It's like, I did not do this alone. I did not get here alone. I went to a place where other like-minded people were looking for something similar to what I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Creating groups or being part of groups
Mhm.
it creates the opportunity to self-regulate from other people.
Yep.
Learn how to do that because they accept you the way you are, even though you don't.
Yep.
That's how you learn how to accept yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
No big. Go ahead.
yeah. There's no way to do this alone.
The good news is that the practice group meetings that the three of us each facilitate, um, as long as several others who facilitate other meetings or co-facilitate, are all available on Zoom. There's a Monday night meeting that Dan facilitates at 6:30 all times Pacific. There's the gut check meeting that the one I facilitate on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, where we look at this body-mind connection, look at using the accountability practice for healing physical challenges. Thursday night, there's another general practice meeting at 6:30. John's meeting is Saturday mornings at 8:30, and I know our friend Duffy is starting a new meeting shortly. And so if you're interested in attending any of these meetings, like I said, all on Zoom, at the end of the podcast, there'll be a little slide with John's and my email addresses. So just send us a note and we'll tell us which meeting you're interested in, and or be interested in all of them. We'll send you the URLs. And when you come to a meeting, it's entirely up to you how you want to participate. You can come turn off your camera and just sit and listen, or you can turn on your camera and dive in the deep end. Doesn't matter. And some of us have been doing this a long time. John, I was thinking about this the other day. We met 12 years ago, and I started working directly with you a year or two after that, and you facilitated some men's group meetings here in Sacramento. That's where I met Dan, and it's just continued to grow. And
Yeah.
Every person who comes to a meeting brings his or her own particular genius, sense of adventure, sense of integrity, even if you don't think you have any of those things. You actually do. We all do. That's our birthright as human beings. And I believe that everyone, 7 billion of us, we're all hungry for our own authentic self-love and self-expression. And the accountability practice gave me the tools to do that. Free of charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please check it out.
Mhm.
So we're coming to the end of our time together, Dan. I'm as always so grateful that you could join us and share what's going on with you and your insights.
Absolutely.
And as always, I just like to give John the chance for the last word, if you got one.
I am full. I'm in this place of this works. I'm not alone. Um, um, And it is my intent to give this information to as many people as possible in a short time. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Love you.
John.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate all those who have become subscribers. Our numbers are growing. Please feel free to send a link of this podcast to friends of yours that you think might be find this work of value, and become evangelists with us.
Mhm.
And we'll see you all next time.
All right. You